would you explain nostalgia to someone who has never experienced it before?
I mean, you're sure? I mean, I'll trust you on this, but... Oh, okay, sorry, the light was blocked from my position. I'm sorry. Hey guys! Welcome back to another video. This time we're talking about a topic that we've all experienced. Nostalgia! Do you remember Webkins? I mean, nostalgia's off the charts! What? Oh my god. Sorry, I can't believe that happened. Oh my god, that's crazy. So, without any further ado, let's go out into the field and see what people think. So, what does nostalgia mean to you?
Nostalgia is kind of like...
But I suppose it could go other ways. I don't know the specific I don't know the Webster's definition of nostalgia.
Like a sad sort of happy. Not like, oh, my life will never be like that, but, you know, just remembering those moments when I was, you know, very content. It sort of has a sad, melancholy feeling, knowing that it'll never be like that again. But it's a very fond memory that, you know, brings me joy.
But when you're walking and you're older and you're more of an adult and you smell something that takes you back, you can instantly remember it, like it's like the rain of a summer day. When you're a child, you remember these more because you don't understand what life is like as an adult yet. But when you're an adult, you're focused on so many things, you don't appreciate the little things.
A name, maybe. Sometimes a name comes in, an event, you know, that will trigger it.
But when we got back in the house and I dried him off and smelled him, that smell, bam, like takes me back to like being a youngster with my dad on the marsh with the dog. Like, oh my God, that takes me back.
So we're still on a beef farm. Those smells are very, very strong and are reassuring.
You'd go in and there'd be this smell, kind of sort of sawdusty, but kind of a smell. But on the counter, they'd always have dried fish, and there'd be, it's terrible to think, there'd be flies flying all over it, you know, and people bought it like crazy, and nobody really got sick.
Probably soft, a little bit blankety feeling, probably, because I was a child blanket person. My father coming with an old car, because this was in the late 40s after the war, and he thought maybe he would get rid of the car he had, which was still a pre-war car, but an even older one. And I came and looked at it out, and I cried because, oh, that old car, and I didn't want to ride in it. So that was a pretty early memory of that car, and my dad didn't keep it. He kept his old 39 car that he had.
My most nostalgic memory is anytime I'm on a sandbar on the Mississippi River, sitting in a lawn chair with my feet in the water, or just playing with my dog or whatever. That's my most nostalgic place. That's my happy place. That's my everything out there. I grew up in this area, and I think I spent more time on that river than doing anything else.
I remember when we lived in this old farmhouse and there was a thunderstorm and I was in the crib, and I know this to be true, and I had a fever, and I used to have very bad nightmares when I had a fever, and I was a baby, probably didn't even talk at the time, but I remember the storm, crying out loud, and compared to crying and not being loud. But yeah, I remember that. That's my earliest memory.
Yeah, I got camping and for a really long time.
Do you think nostalgia is more about the past itself or how we choose to remember it?
Beautiful, sad, and happy.
Recalling events in the past, when you were any time in the past, from childhood on.
Feeling something from the past, and something makes you feel good.
But as far as like electronics or things like that, I mean, boombox. Having that boombox, which was, this to this to this, but little cassette player with your, a couple speakers. Yeah, that very nostalgic for me, or records and turntables, things like that, to this day, that's my preferred. If I'm going to sit down intentionally at home and listen to music, that's what I do, is throw on a record. So, yeah.
Do you ever want to go back in time to a different point in your life or to a different way you remember the world being?
I would say so. Thinking kind of, you get this nostalgia feeling, I would put more with a happy connotation, whereas remembering pain and stuff is closely associated with trauma, and so I think there's the separation of trauma and nostalgia tends to be more happy and more
The radio on, because we had it on quite a bit at home when I was growing up, and I still have background with me when I'm working in the house.
It was the 50s. I mean, I was born in 1948, so it was all the 50s. And then, of course, you got into the 60s, and I actually got to see the Beatles. I saw the Beatles in concert, so that's my one claim to fame.
So, what does nostalgia mean to you?
Sailor Moon.
Yeah, there were so many kids in the neighborhood, and you'd yell, "Janet, come out and play," and they'd come out. And Red Rover and Pom Pom Pull Away were two of our favorite games, where you had chains of people on both ends, and they'd hold hands, and you'd yell, Red Rover, send so-and-so over. And they'd have to run, and they'd have to break the grass between. And if they broke it, they got to take one of the people down to their end.
Do you have any memories that totally changed your perception of a place or thing, for better or worse?
Yeah, I mean, there's some things, certificates and stuff, but as far as like toys go, there was always this one stick that I used to play with that was like my sword, like when I was a kid imagining things, and it was just like a handle off of like a rake or something that broke. We lit that on fire so many times. I loved it so much.
For one thing, just the nostalgia of having a physical thing that you can hold that represents the music, or not even that, that has the music stored on it, you know? The nostalgia for that crackle when you put the needle on it and this thing, it's like, you know?
Nostalgia brings you to a special place and time, and it makes you feel good. And I think a lot of people in the present, we're always trying to look for something in the past that brings us to the good old days, or maybe times were easier, and just kind of rest our heart on that.
Well, reliving, because everything about it was so special, would be my wedding day. You know, it was the start of a whole new life, way of doing things, a whole new possibilities, the unknown. Moving on together.
Kind of like missing a time when either your family was all together, or you lived at home and could see all your friends, or when you didn't have to pay for anything, stuff like that. I think of like better memories when life was more simpler, I think.
family gatherings, because my dad's family was very close, and getting together with aunts and uncles and cousins. So family gatherings are still very important.
If you're not going to cooperate, then I don't see why I need to bother, okay?
This great big truck, flatbed truck, would come down the street and they'd yell, watermelons, cantaloupe, and you'd go outside and you'd buy your stuff off of the trucks. And I mean, can you imagine seeing that now? Yeah, you just don't. You know, it was just cool.
What colors feel the most nostalgic to you? How does experiencing nostalgia make you feel? Happy? Sad?
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. And I'm still just thinking about my old pals. Only now they're the ones I made here.
So that's a quick look into the wacky world of nostalgia. Tell me what you're nostalgic for in the comments below, and you might have a chance to get into the next video. And if you enjoyed the video, rate it 5 stars, and as always, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell. And be sure to follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Reddit, TikTok, Red Note, Musical.ly, MySpace, eBombs World, and Pimbus. And then, I'll see you guys in the next video.